Let's consider a project once trumpeted as a feat of national ambition, a gleaming symbol of 21st century Britain, hurtling towards unity and prosperity at 225 miles per hour. Instead, we find ourselves staring down a trench, not just physically, but fiscally, politically, morally, into which at least 61.8 billion has vanished, with only an incomplete track and scattered credibility in its wake, as well as lost farms, lost houses, lost land. I speak, of course, of HS2, His Majesty's most expensive train set, the Great Folly, the Great White Elephant. HS2 was conceived in 2009 with all-party consensus, that rare beast, backing the idea of high-speed, Y-shaped rail travel, a spine uniting London with Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds and beyond. The cost £33 billion. The promise, regenerated cities up north, faster travel and a rail renaissance. Instead, what we have is 140 miles of track under construction between London and Birmingham, stripped of its northern limbs and reduced to an ambition like a failing empire clinging to a single outpost. The Euston terminus alone has seen £250 million wasted on design proposals, all binned. This is not a railway, it's a 700 million per mile allegory of state dysfunction. Mark Wilde, HS2's newly appointed chief executive, has called the inherited situation unacceptable. Indeed, it's not so much a transport project as a cautionary tale in project mismanagement. Construction began with unstable designs and unrealistic timetables. Contracts were signed against advice. Risk was shoved into the taxpayer, while private contractors scooped up fees without accountability. The entire organisation, as Wilde notes, lacks the capability and the capacity in key commercial and technical functions. That's technocratic jargon for they didn't know what they were doing. Successive transport secretaries and prime ministers added to the farce, not least Rishi Sunak, who killed off the Manchester leg while standing in Manchester. His solution, Network North, a mythical assortment of piecemeal projects, some of which were actually in Kent. And the cost of all this vanity, originally set up in 2026, originally set to open in 2026, HS2 is now expected at best to open between 2029 and 2035, and that's only from Old Oak Common to Birmingham, not Euston. Time savings? A grand total of 27 minutes, likely reduced further if trains open at lower speeds and without automatic systems. It's not high-speed rail; it's high-cost moderation. It's a joke. And to what end? Not to level up the country. The very arms meant to reach the north have been amputated. What remains is a symbol not of ambition but of Whitehall drift, contractor capture and ministerial cowardice. And yet, all may not be lost. Wilde and the Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, have announced a comprehensive reset involving trimming unnecessary features like automatic train control, cutting corporate bloat, renegotiating abusive civil works contracts, and aligning delivery with a less fantastic vision. Alexander says, "We will not reinstate cancelled sections that we cannot afford, but pledges to salvage something usable." And in fairness, Wilde has done this before, on the Elizabeth line no less. But make no mistake, this is salvage, not transformation. The great project has been neutered, and Britain remains a nation unable to build competently at scale. The moral of HS2 is not merely that governments can squander money. We already knew that. It's that Britain, for all its talk of global ambition, has forgotten how to plan and deliver infrastructure in the public interest. HS2's failure lies not in its ambition, but in the mismatch between ambition and institutional competence. It's a monument not to engineering excellence, but to political incoherence and managerial illusion. If there is hope, it lies not in slogans like Network North or the ghost of levelling up. It lies in radical transparency, simplified planning, and the courage to sack not just underperforming contractors, but the culture of gold plating and delay that has come to define British public works. Until then, HS2 remains the most expensive way ever devised to prove that the train does not, in fact, leave the station.